A really good point to see the two teams converge and see actually who is stronger into Champions Night now. So going to answer some of those questions. Shan and Caitlyn banned at H2K so far. And Azir and Jin aimed at Jad. I really like the Jin ban.
Yes, and this is actually really interesting because when I was on the desk yesterday with Deficio, we were discussing during Giants' game against G2, when will people start banning Jin against SONSTAR? Because it seems to be one of his comfort picks, something that he consistently performs on, and something that Giants are always looking to actually prioritize. And H2K is saying, we identified that as one of your strengths. We realized that out of the lineup, SONSTAR and Hustlin are not really the players we often talk about, so let's get them on something that they're not particularly comfortable on, and let's use Freeze and Vander to push them around and show them why we are still one of the best bots in Europe. But
that was the interesting thing, right? Because like SONSTAR was not performing well on like carry ADCs, whereas on the utility ones like Sivir, Ashe, Jin, significantly better. And they're still going to get the Sivir first pick. That's still very interesting though, with a lot of high priority picks open.
So we're still seeing Giants put all that value on getting the very early AD carry. They want to make sure that SONSTAR is on something that he can provide utility on. Yeah. He will still have that fantastic late game team fighting prowess that Sivir has with her W, and you just offer the engage, the disengage. The Karma is still available. I think it would be good for H2K to take that one away because the Karma Sivir is devastating, not only during the laning phase, but come the mid game, you just have so many options.
Crazy movement speed. Maybe Max will even pick up like an Olaf with that as well to speed him into the fight. So we'll see if he does do that. Now waiting for H2K and their pickups. What are we going to see out of the jungle? Nidlee's been banned, but Lee's has been very much a priority pick for Jankos. 8 games on that, and the next highest is Rek'Sai 3, so we can see where his priorities lie.
So interesting that they've actually decided to not put value on the Elise. They've decided that the Rek'Sai will offer a similar sort of early game pressure, but you actually act as that frontline tank. When you pair it up with a Braum, you're now already looking at a very solid frontline. So now Odoamne has the choice to go for something a little bit more aggressive if he wants to. He can play something like the Aurelia if he wants to, maybe the Trundle as well, which we have seen him perform on these sort of pseudo carry top lanes, the Gnar too, because he doesn't have to be that big tanky frontline on something like the Shen.
And on the opposite side, Giants almost read like a book, as you were saying, picking up the Karma as well with the Sivir for that lane and the Olaf. It's almost like a dream come true for Giants. Just have got everything they wanted.
And the flexibility that the Olaf provides is great as well, because you don't actually know where he's going to go. He fits well into the top lane, he fits well in the jungle. Hey, we saw Faker bring it out in the mid at Worlds too. So there is a huge amount of flexibility available in that one. And when you pair it up with the Sivir and the Karma, you have so many engage options too.
Yeah, I would cheer for that. Draven coming out here by Freeze as well, has been banned a bunch against him, sometimes just as like a reserve last ban for teams, but this time Freeze is going to take it to the table. Very, very good on that champion. And Viktor for the mid lane. So Ryu, I was going to mention this earlier, but it feels like top, jungle, and mid all have like their go-to, and that's like Gnar, Elise, Viktor, all with significantly more games on those champions than anything else for H2K. And Ryu, no different. 11 games on Viktor to the next highest of Rise on 4, and the next highest on 2. So he really likes that Viktor pick.
I mean, it's a great pick overall. Good control, good wave clear in the mid lane. Scales very well into these team fights, enables Ryu to not only be a carry himself, but can also act very well into the Olaf, which is what I love so much about Viktor, because it just comes back to the Jarvan effect that we've been discussing earlier on into the day, where Olaf does such a great job of diving onto the backline. You either have a choice of killing the Olaf or just kiting him long enough until his ultimate returns. And sometimes that can be very difficult, especially when you have a low mobility AD carry with Draven. So what you do is you plonk this gravity field, you separate the Olaf away from the rest of his team, and then you just nuke him down because the rest of his team can't follow up.
Well, I want to talk about the Zilean that just got locked in by Giants.
Well, good luck killing that Olaf now.
Yeah, and they locked in a Jax as well, so double threat. So presumably we're going to see Maxlore on that Olaf now, top lane with SmittyJ on the Jax. And again, I was talking to Trev yesterday when we were in a caster room watching the games, and he was like, it's so weird seeing Giants with a Jax in the top lane when it's not they're playing it. And it's just like, it is bizarre.
But how strange is it that we also saw so many smite steals from Maxlore, which is exactly what their former jungler was known for.
That's true. Frederick, the Steel King.
The Steel King.
Yeah, he had a graphic made after him. It was really, really cool.
So the Giants composition right now, clear setup for a 1-4. You allow the Jax in the side lane to just be putting so much pressure down. There are very few champions available that are going to be able to deal with him because the Olaf has been taken away. And you also have like so much utility that Knight is not going to be playing a carry mid laner this time. He is going to be on this zone control Zilean. I think he can still play that. You have plenty of damage with the Olaf, with the Jax, with the Sivir. You have that team fight presence, but Giants, they're not saying they want a team fight. They're saying, hey, look, we just want to go for this 1-4. And when you pick a Rumble actively into that, it does make me wonder, because in the early game, sure, the Rumble's going to have the advantage, but there is no way, come Trinity Force, come Spectre's Cowl, that he is going to be able to deal with that late game Jax.
No, he's going to get absolutely bodied in that 1v1. But of course, the Zilean pick will work in this composition, but it's also a pick that Knight used to pick up before he even joined the European LCS. He used to play a lot of Cassiopeia, had those highlight clips, and also on Zilean as well. I remember seeing a highlight clip and he was in the top lane and he just like bombed someone twice. Like, really, that's a highlight clip? But he does really well on that champion.
He certainly does. It's one of his go-tos. We recently saw him bringing out the Cassiopeia, and to be fair, the Zilean actually does very well into the Viktor as well. We can talk more about it when we get into the actual game.
Yes, we will.
But it's really interesting to see the composition, and I am just wishing good luck to H2K, because I will be amazed if they can kill that Olaf.
Yeah, I mean, of course, Olaf needs to have like a decent early game if he goes 0-5 and just gets wrecked.
But he just needs to farm. We've seen Olafs get like 5.5k HP.
Last series we saw that as well. Either way, we're going to look at these compositions and use the hashtags GIA win or H2K win. Show your support on Twitter as we get into this game. Will be our first game of this series and our second series of the day with Giants and H2K. And this really will answer a lot of questions here, Vedius. Have Giants actually gotten to a point where they can challenge H2K and maybe even take the win? They've been taking names over the last couple of weeks, and we are into game onto the Rift.
Well, we're certainly going to be finding out, as we do have Giants going up against H2K in this second series of the day. We had an action-packed game one of the day. I wonder whether or not we're going to be the same. Giants and H2K have had a bit of time now to wake up. This is about, we're about 2:30. Now is about the time that both teams will be scrimming.
Breakfast.
They should be in scrims right about now. So will this be another scrim? Or will we see some real high-level League of Legends action?
Yeah, it might be a little bit groggy. We don't know, but they've had time earlier in the day.
So let's go through
the
what we expect to see early on, because we have to take into consideration the lane swap. Freeze and Vander are going to want to avoid the 2 versus 2 simply because the push potential from a Sivir Karma is horrible. You're constantly going to be harassed by the poke, and you're always going to be shoved under turrets, so just avoiding the standard matchup is good for them. SmittyJ will struggle early on with the Rumble, because Rumble is typically known for this lane bully. We saw it earlier on with Gamsu up against the Shen, and if you can avoid it, it's great, but all Maxlore needs to do now is do exactly what Move did in our first series of the day, where he just puts a huge amount of pressure early on, get the Jax through the rough laning phase. Wouldn't be surprised to see Jax go for a bit of early magic resistance, get that then Trinity Force into the Spectre's Towel, Spirit Visage, so that he can deal with this double AP coming out from H2K.
Spectre's Towel.
Spectre's Towel. Well, I mean, it basically is a towel.
Always bring a towel.
And yeah, we are actually seeing the Warlord's Bloodlust coming out from both AD carries. So perhaps the changes to Fervor have resulted in this shift. But we have been seeing this a lot on Sivirs recently. And the crits make a lot of sense. You do get a lot of value from it, especially in these late game team fights.
So, standard lanes. What does that thumb and what does that pinky mean?
Sorry. I was going to say, we've talked a lot about the top, we've talked a lot about the bottom, but the lane that I am most familiar with, we haven't even had an opportunity to talk about. So the Zilean into Viktor. Typically the thing about Viktor is the moment he completes his upgraded hex score, he just shoves that wave in permanently. But the advantage that a Zilean has is he can always shove that wave, because the double bombs are super obnoxious to play against. Early on he is going to struggle because he's not going to have that double bomb available, and Viktor, who can just use that Q to harass, will push him around and force him under turret early on. But once Knight reaches a couple extra levels, likely around the level 5, level 7 mark when he gets those bonus points, he'll then start matching the wave clear, and it becomes this very back and forth lane where neither laner can really look to be aggressive, because if Rhea walks up, he hits the double bomb, but then if Knight walks up, he's going to eat a Q, the Siphon Power, into then the death ray. So it becomes a very slow and boring matchup.
Let's see the junglers bump heads very briefly. Oh, it's going to be a fight over the Skull Crab, lads. Maxlore, he's got territory control. Look at these axes coming out, but now he's out of mana.
And he missed every single one of them.
It was just a zone away, man. It was zoning out.
He's sending a message.
It is. Look at all these messages he's sending Jankos.
Why aren't you messaging me back? What the hell?
Jankos, he's still hunting. But I think Maxlore, yeah, he's got the crab now. He's got crabs for days. Yeah, I was just really confused with what you were doing before, Vedius, because we use hand signals on the caster desk between casters to denote what we mean, and he was doing this kind of gang sign thing, and I was like, what does this mean? And I was like, oh, okay, so that must mean he wants to talk about mid lane. Got it. That one's in the memory banks now, Vedius, so perfect.
Perfect. Glad we got that established.
Ooh, Knight. It's like a lot of burst out from Ryu. He has to double bomb more land, but I mean, okay, that was a lot more damage than I was expecting.
Level 3 to level 4. This is a bit rough for Knight, and if he's going to use all those bombs to clear waves, to harass rather than clear waves, he is going to get shoved in the turret, and that deficit's going to become bigger and bigger. But a typical build for a Zilean will usually be a lot of mana and a lot of cooldown reduction, because you're very much about getting those resets as often as you can and just spamming bomb after bomb after bomb. And so you do need a large mana pool for that. And the Rod of Ages just helps because if you are that utility mid laner, the Rod of Ages is just naturally useful because it scales well, it gives you a bit of extra pseudo tankiness, and it just enables you to survive a little bit longer in these team fights. And so you then don't require peel, because that's not typically what you want as a support mid laner. Yeah. You want to be the one providing the support, not the one needing it.
There's also a lot of people in this game on Giant's side who he can lend his support to. Sivir late game is going to be mental, jungle and top lane can all go off, so it just needs a spark in one of those champions to really get them rolling in this game. Jankos was trying to steal some stuff away from Maxlore's jungle. He's very angry about that and take away this pink ward in vengeance. And went for the Sightstone early as well, so trying to get that early control. Meanwhile, Jankos went for the Stalker's Blade, so looking maybe for some more ganks, more trading. And top lane still just going toe-to-toe. Equal farm so far. As expected, Draven just being shoved into tower constantly by this lane.
And quite interesting to see Maxlore actually go for a very early Sightstone as SONSTAR getting exhausted.
Interesting. Well, Freeze is going to hit the stand aside, and Hustlin's going to walk it off. That was, yeah, that was interesting.
So the thing you have to be mindful of with the Draven and Braum matchup is the risk of the all-in. And it looked like that's what they were going to go for, because SONSTAR low on mana, Hustlin low on mana. They wanted to try and get the collapse down, but the coordination just seemed a little bit off. SONSTAR immediately using his shield to block the Q coming out from Vander meant that the exhaust couldn't really properly be followed up on. But Maxlore going for a bit of counter jungling, needs to be mindful of the Draven collapse.
Get off my lawn, Maxlore. He's going to follow up in this 1v1. Jankos is not winning, but Ryu's going to turn up and first burn the aftershock damage. Jankos, he's got the bomb on top of him. Is that enough damage? He's so low, but he survives. Freeze now chasing down Knight in the mid lane. He will manage to get out 1-0.
Big mistake from Maxlore. He believed that he could come out ahead in this 1v1. He thought that he had the support from Knight, but he didn't respect the possibility as
nice
Knight,
level 6.
Ooh, the health pot just barely keeping him alive.
Back and see
He's going to lose a lot of farm and experience for that play. And 4 HP.
Yeah.
Wow. So health pot's OP, man. But he does have the teleport, so he's not going to lose that much for it. But yeah, I mean, Maxlore felt that he had the support from Knight, which would have been enough to keep him alive. But unfortunately, it was just the collapse from Draven that really screwed him over, as well as Ryu just coming back to lane, having just board as well. Very unfortunate for Maxlore, so he needs to be mindful of his over-aggression. He can't be too risky in this early game, as SmittyJ going way too aggressive.
But Odoamne will lay down the red carpet. Odoamne trying to get away from this one. SmittyJ wants the kill in return, but he's slowed down and taken out by the turret. Kill credit to Odoamne.
A little bit too aggressive from SmittyJ as well. He definitely knew he had the damage to get the kill down onto Odoamne, but because Jankos was reading SmittyJ like a book, he was there to provide the support. And even though Odoamne missed his ultimate, they were still able to get the kill. So now 2-0 in favor of H2K, having a good early game. But Freeze, he is by himself. Giants could potentially go for a dive as SONSTAR is level 6. Bit of a risk though.
It is, but getting those stacks off of Freeze would be nice. That was a cool shield in there from Hustlin to deny the cannon minion from Freeze. Creative use of his E, and Vander comes back into the top lane. Looking for that level 6, of course. SONSTAR already has his on the hunt if he wants to go up there for a gank, but junglers content to farm their own jungles for now as the second waves of buffs is spawning. Knight has gone for the blasting ones in the mid lane, so what do you think he'll be building this?
Rod of Ages.
Okay.
Almost certainly.
All right, let's look at someone else. Odoamne, yeah, we know he's going to go Proto Belt, already has the makings of that. Freeze as well, most likely going to go for the pen build that we see very much on Draven.
I mean, the most interesting build out of all of this is the very early Sightstone that we mentioned earlier from Maxlore. He hasn't even gone for his jungle item. He just wants to control vision. We heard Crapo talking about it on the desk where Maxlore last week was in a position where he could have snowballed his own jungle, but he actually valued getting vision down over snowballing himself. And you can see once more that's exactly what he's doing. He's using the Sightstone to get deep vision down, to read where Jankos is, so that he can predict all of these early ganks that Jankos likes to set up. And unfortunately for the side of Giants, Maxlore wasn't able to get the vision early enough to help protect SmittyJ. And I feel like that was just a bit of an oversight from Smitty, who is so used to having this vision, is so used to being able to relay where Jankos is on the map, that he went aggressive because he felt like he was safe, and then just didn't expect the collapse.
Unfortunately, he can only do so much with that vision. And Maxwell was giving a lot of credit to Jankos as a strong early jungler. And Jankos very much the king of First Bloods, assisting in both those kills so far. The reign continues. And H2K quite happy with the small gold lead, but hasn't accumulated into any objectives just yet. First dragon is mountain, so these teams will want to go for that fairly early. Jankos is going to find Maxlore in the jungle, and even though he got those 2 assists, it's still Rek'Sai versus Olaf, so Olaf wins. And Maxlore, oh, he's still trying to steal this one away. Ward over the wall, but Knight shouldn't be too bad. Sometimes it is easy to steal away buffs from a Zilean, because you have to wait for the tick on the bomb.
And he almost got the steal there, because
he's on 20, like
Knight,
6 HP.
yeah, Knight had to get it with a basic attack, so could have been close, but fortunately Knight will secure that for himself. And now we're in a bit of a lull, because both teams are already relying on scaling. Freeze on this Draven, while he definitely has some early power, because you get those empowered auto attacks from your Q, you still need at least one item to have an impact. I imagine he's going to go for the early Ghost Blade, so you hit that early game spike, and at that point H2K could look to force something, because Ryu, if he wants, just upgrading his Hex Core early will give him a lot of early game damage, which means that come the 15-minute mark, H2K could try and force stuff if they want, especially with a Proto Belt done now for Odoamne. And Giants, without the things like the Trinity Force, without even a BF item completed for SONSTAR, they're going to just have to concede these objectives. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the first Drake of the game go over to H2K, simply because Giants do require a little bit more scaling before they can really look to force anything.
A little bit of time, but also important to get those stacks off Freeze, because he's already up to 250, so he's going to get a nice cash in if he gets a kill. Needs to be careful. And in terms of farm differential, not a big one in the lanes. Jankos is looking for a gank, but he has been pinged out by Giants, so they know what's up. Ryu is still pushing down the mid lane, and we're still just edging towards potential dragon take. See, Maxlore is invading while they knew Jankos is on the top side. Think about recalling, he's low on mana. And with dragon up, we'll see if H2K do converge around that area to take it at some point. But currently, lanes are farming Vedius, and that's pretty much the game state. You can see Ryu gone back, pick up a quick item. Going to be Lost Chapter and not Charles.
So let's just think about how these fights are going to play out, right? Because obviously Giants' win condition here is to set up the 1-4. The Jax doesn't want to be joining team fights. If we recall back to Origin versus Splice, if you try and use a Jax in a team fight, it doesn't go as well as you would like. Definitely if he comes in late or comes in from a flank and is just able to one-shot the backline, then he definitely has his uses. But typically his strength is in his ability to split push. And Giants, with this Sivir, with this Karma, have many opportunities to just constantly disengage if H2K try and force anything. But H2K definitely want to force something, because they have the Viktor, they have the Draven, very good at forcing fights, very good in team fights. When you combine that with the Rumble ult, who has so much control with his ultimate, and we're seeing this Braum Rumble synergy again, where you can land the Glacial Fissure onto the Rumble ult too, means that playing around objectives is exactly what H2K want to try and force. And so it's going to be a matter of, are Giants going to fall for the trap of H2K? Or are H2K just going to have no real option? Are they going to wait too long to try and force anything? And it's eventually going to get to a point where no one can deal with the split push in SmittyJ, and they'll gradually lose their base after that.
I try gank on the mid lane with Jankos, but luckily Hustlin was also there for the movement speed. I think Knight would have been on his way out regardless of the extra movement speed from his own kit.
It's a good thing there's no Cloud Drake here, because we couldn't even follow them if that was the case.
That's true. Odoamne, instant flash away, did not want to be hit by the counter-strike, but Maxlore is still following after, forcing the equalizer down from Odoamne. The rest of H2K is coming into the bot lane, but I believe they've been seen out by Giants, who are going to back off to their tower. There'd be no other reason for Odoamne to be so aggressive in this 1-on-2 otherwise. And Jankos will show his face. Now they have a couple people down here, but aren't turning towards the dragon just yet. 13 minutes in, no one has touched the mountain dragon.
Well, just look at the deep vision coming out from H2K right now. They could be looking for a potential dive, but they have to be wary of the fact that Maxlore is still in the vicinity. They could just look to try and force this turret only at 50%. No, they're going for the dive.
They are. TP comes in, and TP stopped.
Oh, I think that's risky. It's just going to give away the turret to H2K, and there's going to be no answer. Or as I say that, look at the members of Giants immediately rotating around to the mid. They know that Ryu isn't there. His ghost is down. He's not going to be able to rejoin, so Giants replicating the pressure at a different part of the map is going to disengage the siege. And now Maxlore, he's going on to Odo.
Coming in from the front door, Odoamne is going to go and try and pick up the kill. He overheats, but the kill out from Jankos. Furious bite. Odoamne survives 2-0 in that trade.
Clutch jump in from Jankos to turn that fight around. Maxlore, he didn't have the mana. SmittyJ, he didn't really have the HP. And they should have been mindful. It was too greedy once again from the side of Giants. And now we have a bit of a fight happening in the top.
Winter's Bite didn't land on the Hustlin. He's going to back down the river. Top lane, SONSTAR still going to carry on farming. He's good for now. Equal farm in the top lane. But H2K constantly winning out in these trades as well. And that's really where you expect Giants to be excelling, whereas H2K generally play the map, but just straight up outplays in those 2v2s.
Certainly was. Really impressive stuff. It was almost like Odo was baiting it, basically saying, hey, why you wanna fight? Just being like, hey, I'm by myself, you know. Nonchalantly, and there he is in the 1 versus 2. It looks like they're going to be able to get the kill, but SmittyJ, he doesn't have the initial health for that fight, and then on top of that, Maxlore doesn't really have the mana to keep spamming out those undertows. So unfortunately for the Giants duo, they do fall at the hands of Jankos and Odo. And so far, early game going very well for H2K, especially for this Rumble. I mean, level 11 right now. Proto bout completed, Horning Guy's done too. Couldn't be happier if you're H2K. Still haven't taken the first dragon of the game, but there's no way at this point the Giants are going to be able to contest it. And that Rumble will be the big scary point moving forward because, I mean, he's just so powerful. Level 11 is where he hits a big spike because he gets the level 2 in his Olaf.
Welcome to another episode of Pulse's Fun Facts. Odoamne, they survived on 1 HP.
No.
Yes, I can actually show you on the replay if you want. 1 HP. We had a 4 HP Knight escape.
So you're telling me his base HP saved his life?
Yeah.
His base HP regen saved his life?
1 HP. That is absurd.
Unlucky.
Yeah, pretty much unlucky. But like had both of those kills gone through, it still would have been 1-1 anyway. So
that's like when the Pokeball shakes 3 times, and then it opens.
And anyway. Are you kidding me? Like, yeah, it's the worst. But that's basically this game so far. How many more will we get? We'll have to find out. Find out next time on Giants H2K. Mid lane, Predabot comes in, Odoamne tries to zone him away, but he has tower aggro. This is not good at all for the Rumble, and he has no flash. The rest of the team has to bail out.
Massive props to Knight there, getting the double bomb down to stun so many members of H2K, and that just leaves Odoamne out to dry. The flank initially looks very promising, but just really impressive Zilean there from Knight, because that did turn the fight in Giants' favor. They get themselves their first kill on the board, and this is exactly what they needed. They need H2K to try and be over-aggressive. We know that H2K want to try and force these fights. They have a good team fight composition, and fortunately Giants were able to turn it around, so impressive stuff coming out from them.
Nice to see, but I mean, one of the big things was Odoamne taking the tower there. Unfortunately, was not onto Jankos or someone who could easily escape that situation. H2K still with the lead, and Jankos zoning them away from the top tower. Freeze will be able to hit this tower, but there's no mini-wave, unfortunately. So even with 3 people up there, they weren't able to really get a good siege down. 17 minutes in. Wow, Duskblade of Trackfar is going to be the first item from Freeze. All right, cool. Yeah, foregoing the Ghostblade as the first item.
I mean, it still makes sense because it gives you the early armor penetration. It gives you a lot of flat AD, which is exactly what a Draven wants. It reminds you back of when Draven used to go for the early Bloodthirster, just because you want as much AD as possible. But I mean, it's still nice. The only thing that you lack is the cooldown reduction. And I mean, on Draven, that's not even that bad. You even gain movement speed from the ability. So I do quite like it as a first item. And we'll have to see. I imagine he will go for something like the Ghostblade next. We'll have to see. Given the nerfs, it seems like Freeze doesn't put as much value on it anymore.
Top tower will finally go down to H2K. SONSTAR, oh, yep, okay. Knight comes into the top lane just to try and defend. Maxlore was there as well, but wasn't able to make that happen. So H2K, 3 towers now, taking all of the outer towers. Freeze is almost up to 500 stacks. And when Dravens have a lot of stacks, it makes me incredibly nervous. It's just like you're walking down like a dark alley at night with like wads of cash in your pockets, and it's like, just makes me very anxious.
Wait, for the Draven or?
Yeah, for the Draven.
Oh, because you don't want him to lose all those stacks?
Exactly.
Ah, I see.
That's a lot of gold to lose.
That's fair.
That's a lot of gold. That's like 500 gold.
It's like going into the wilderness with your Abyssal Whip, you know? It's not something you can really afford to do.
Yep. I don't like it. He needs to get a kill, or at the very least, if he dies, then I won't feel as bad anymore, because then it's just like, at least that moment of anxiety is over.
Yeah, I mean, how satisfying would it be to walk into the wilderness, to then find an opponent in full barrows, having a gold sword too, just killing them with your Abbey Whip. It's exactly the same principle.
I have absolutely no idea what you're saying, but I agree. Yeah.
You didn't play RuneScape?
No.
Wow, you missed out on a childhood.
Yeah, apparently I did. It just never appealed to me. Giants are all grouped up. What's the collective term for Giants?
Whoa,
That's
just
what I
hang on a
want to
second.
know
Look at the collective. God damn it. Look at the potential flank. They're immediately going to disengage. Move instantly straight to the dragon.
A mountain of giants, perhaps? Such as the mountain dragon here for H2K, which will be a free take. As you said earlier, fantastic prediction, Vedius.
Cheers, mate.
No problem. It's H2K. Easy first dragon. 19 minutes in, though. It's so rare we see like a 19-minute first dragon take when it's mountain dragon. I would expect that from a Cloud Dragon, but not from New Mountain Dragon. Odoamne, here's the ultimate. Will it be enough to save him? The damage onto Maxlore is huge, but he does have the ultimate from Knight on top of him. He actually does want to die here from Ryu, helping him out. Good guy Ryu will actually give him more health back before he's able to back off.
Really like the aggression from Maxlore because he knew that he had the ultimate available. And SONSTAR getting collapsed on.
Oh no. Jankos didn't quite catch him. Hustlin will be caught by the Glacial Fissure. Ryu's trying to follow up. He does have Flash. Doesn't even need it to get in range of the Death Laser for another kill. 2-0-0 in this game. SmittyJ in his natural habitat, split pushing top lane. Bottom lane, however, TP now coming in from Knight to try and defend. Freeze is hammering away at this tower. When he is backed up by Vander, both of them sidestepping the double bomb coming in. And he also has Jankos there to protect. So H2K's push has been stymied temporarily.
So a lot of little things happened all across the map. Maxlore was able to catch Odoamne out, and this was huge for SmittyJ because he was able to free farm in the top, and there was no one to soak up that massive minion wave that he was able to accrue, and he was able to then take that tier 1 turret down in the top lane, which enabled him to equalize the level advantage, pick himself up some items. Notice now he's got the Trinity Force and is working towards the Spirit's Visage, which will be absolutely huge for the 1v1 moving forward. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, SONSTAR and Hustlin were playing a little bit too aggressive. They did not respect the potential flank coming out from Jankos, and while they couldn't get the kill done onto SONSTAR, they are able to pick up another kill onto Ryu and shut down Hustlin. And that enabled Freeze to just keep pushing down in the bottom half of the map, where he was able to pick up a bit of extra CS too. He's now completed his Ghost Blade, and so we're seeing where the priorities are coming in for H2K. They're punishing the bottom lane of Giants, whereas Giants, they're trying to stymie the lead that Odoamne was able to build himself up.
Stymie is a good word.
I don't really know what it means, but it sounds good.
H2K are pushing up here. Gonna take some bombs. There's a moment where you do not want to run back to your team, Vander. There you go. Or damage the crab as well. And got this 1v1. Eventually, SmittyJ will get you, Odoamne, but it is not this day. Once he's got 2 or 3 items and he's got more magic resist, which he is building, looking towards that Spirit Visage, he will get you, and then you have to watch out. He's already on 2 items himself, Odoamne, with the Spirit Visage and a Proto Belt. But
early Leandry's,
gotta be careful. Yeah, we see that a decent amount. Saw that last series as well, went for Leandry's.
Look at the mid
lane. Ryu has been caught out by Maxlore, just running full force at him, has a bomb on top of him as well.
Gotta go.
He's gonna be backing away. Knight popped the ultimate on himself, so he's got none left for Maxlore. He's gonna flash away just in case something goes over. Hustlin took it to the face and it ran out of steam before it hit Knight. Whirling Death was so close. It was on track though.
All that gold was in Freeze's eyes.
It was, no!
He was just like, I'm gonna get banked. But it doesn't matter because they can still make bank off the back of this Baron. Remember, Maxlore, he doesn't have Ghost, he doesn't have his ultimate. Knight doesn't have ultimate. SmittyJ,
he's fighting the support on the backside, but Maxlore is completely by himself. Come on, Ryu, that should have gone to Freeze. Another kill to H2K. They still have control over Baron area, and Giants will have to back up.
They're not going to take the risk. I feel like they could have gone for a clean execution of that, but it's still 23 minutes in. As Jankos now trying to get the collapse onto Knight. But he is way too quick for you. He's got his Nikes on, and he's just going to dash
go
out
fast.
of there.
He's away.
He's got a soar like an eagle.
Who, Knight?
Well, all of them.
Oh, okay, yeah. They need to
Soar
fly.
like an eagle. I'm sure that's a song somewhere.
Probably.
I can
sure
feel
that's
Sifa cringing right now because I've got the lyrics of another song wrong.
He only knows rap songs, not like real songs. So that's
wow.
gonna trigger him. That's actually gonna do it. There we go. We did it. I know he's listening because he's doing an interview, I think. But H2K, just getting everything. Like they can go for anything and just like bait out Giants. Like just going for Baron is still gonna be a good play. He's fine. He's fine.
Yeah.
Freeze. So up to 600 stacks. My anxiety is intensifying in this game. But he's pretty well built even without that. He's got the Dust Blade and the Ghost Blade. He has many blades. He just needs all the blades. He's in pretty good shape. When he cashes that in, he's going to be the richest Draven that ever was.
See, when you said he's well built and in good shape, I'm just like, you checking out Freeze? You've been going to the gym?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. Looking pretty buff. He's been cutting recently. Yeah, looking good. But 2 and 6 currently. Not a lot of kills, but more objective focus is what we expect from an H2K, or what we used to expect from H2K. Recently, their games have been really messy, like really messy. Even yesterday against Schalke, it was just kills back and forth, and the Nexus surviving on 45 HP. Maybe it's an H2K thing. Them just being in the game forces people to be on incredibly low amounts of HP.
Well, speaking of HP, wanted to have a look at Maxlore's because he is sitting at 3,000 right now, 25 minutes into the game. As the Baron's HP now down to about a half, they should be able to just pick this one up.
This is going down so fast. Here comes the TP, but I think it might be late in from Smitty.
Maxlore.
Here comes the fight from H2K. Odoamne, perfect usage of the equalizer. Knight and SONSTAR just can't even get into the fight. Vander goes down, triple bomb in from Knight. Will it be the turning point? The first drop onto Odoamne, second onto Vander. SONSTAR trying to get in range. SmittyJ jumps onto Ryu. The shutdown for SONSTAR. The chase after Jankos as well. And all off the back of Knight. This has gone Giants' way. Jankos, tick, tick.
Boom! Excellent stuff coming out from Giants, and it was all off the back of Knight, who was able to get himself the 3-man stun. Really impressive stuff coming out from Giants. They're going to turn this Baron around in their favor, and wow, Poles, who would have thought that Giants could turn that one?
Now that is a highlight play worth showing time and time again for Knight. I was not impressed by the last one, but that was sick. Set up that fight perfectly for the Giants, and this game may swing on that one play, picking up all of those kills and picking up the Baron as well. Giants, the goal lead is almost nothing anymore.
Observers, get us a replay, because we need one right now, and here it is. Thank you, guys. So let's have a look at how this all set up. They're in a choke point. This is fantastic for the Rumble. He lays it off. He cuts Maxlore off from the rest of his team. He gets dropped immediately. Knight can't ult him. SmittyJ now takes on the role in the front line, and look at that double bomb. Fantastic. 3 members get stunned up. That buys plenty of time for Giants to reposition, reevaluate their situation, and SmittyJ just goes to town. This is how you make a team fight Jax work, and then it's just a matter of time as Jankos see his life fade before his very eyes, and Giants get themselves the 4-for-1, they get themselves the Baron, and now they're still behind in gold.
Yes, they are, but they should be catching up with this Baron power play. I think the biggest thing for me from that fight was that Freeze survived. That almost gave me a heart attack, but he has almost 700 stacks now. Look at the damage that Smitty did in that fight, and also Knight. It was really on those two players. I was like, honestly, coming into that fight, I just thought SmittyJ was too late. H2K were on the Baron, it was so low, they turned to fight, they made that call.
Maxlore dropped instantly with no Knight support. I mean, yeah. I thought that was it. But, oh man, Knight.
The Knight, hero that we need. Turning up in this game, 27 minutes. And Ocean Dragon is live. Giants will easily take this one away. Not as useful as Infernal or Mountain at this point, but they'll still be happy to take it.
So now the question is, how do Giants close out the game? Because they have a lead. They definitely have the momentum swinging in their favor. They're in a prime position to set up the 4-1, but they just want to fight.
Oh my god, SmittyJ's just going to go in there, and Ryu gets obliterated. Vander's going to go down as well and meet the same fate. They're still going.
SmittyJ!
He's going to try and pick up the kill, but Smitty's on top of him. No, the stacks. SmittyJ shuts him down. He's on a rampage, and he comes back up. Knight was there in time, and he didn't even die. 3 for nothing.
Oh my word, Giants. They could set the 4-1 up, but they don't need to because they have Knight providing the support. that allows SmittyJ and Maxlore to just go to town. That is unbelievable. The momentum has swung so heavily in their favor. They've got a 4K gold lead. They're going to take 3 towers in the mid lane. They might even get an inhibitor too.
They're on top of it. I don't think there's anything that H2K can do at all. Jankos and Vander coming in here. The AoE speed up out from Hustlin, and they are away. Knight was even taking the bottom lane.
Oh my word. Giants have just gotten so much momentum off the back of this. And I cannot praise Knight enough. His plays with the Zilean were just unbelievable. Look, he throws 2 bombs onto SmittyJ, which just means that there is so much damage following him up when he dives onto the backline. He sees freeze, but he knows he's going to get revived. He gets the ultimate then. He's like, okay, I'm good. I'm going to get all my health back because this is a full AP Zilean. Maxlore tanks the turret up long enough. And just perfect execution. Giants knowing exactly how to make use of it. I said Knight couldn't carry on this champion, but I was dead wrong.
I'm happy it's a bit wrong as well. And is this Knight's final form? He is now the Dark Knight, the hero that Giants need?
I mean, I would be terrified if he has another level. Because this is one impressive player. I mean, I'm going to have to take a bit of a highlight. I said at the start of the split, Knight is the player we need to watch out for. He could be the guy that turns it around for Giants, because there was I mean, we were hyped for him. Remember the Cassiopeia play we saw? And have a look at this. Another fight being set up by H2K.
Huslin's been chased down, but he's buying a lot of time regardless. Ryu is going so deep for this 1 kill. And he will be protected by Knight. The Chrono Shift is good. Maxlore will chase after SONSTAR as well. Activates the ultimate. Double bomb once again with a lockdown. Vander, he's eating up a lot of damage, but will finally bite the dust. SmittyJ jumping after freeze. He'll survive temporarily while Jankos are being chased down. And H2K have been scattered while they will all go down. 3 fast kills to Giants. And Ryu and Freeze will both go back to base. But there's super minions knocking on the front door.
And look at Giants. They want to try and close this one out right now. Only Ryu is alive. Only Freeze is alive. They have plenty of wave clear, but I think Giants have done it. They're looking to close out this game.
2 carries against the Worlds and make that 1 as Ryu will go down. Freeze is trying to survive, but Smitty just does so much damage. Giants with a 5-0 and the game 1 goes over to Giants.
You can see the joy on Knight's face after what was an incredible performance.
You can lock that in as my player of the game. Knight, such fantastic play, 100% kill participation, 4-0-10. Incredible play from Giants.
We need a play of the game right now.
Yes,
because that was so good. So many great plays coming out from Knight.
Glorious.
Just an outstanding performance. He had the highest damage on his team.
I was just going to say, very rare you see like a Zilean doing that much damage, but only
okay, this is how you make a team fight Jax work. You make him unkillable. I thought it was going to be the Olaf on the front lines, but no, they could not shut down the Jax at all.
But that was the great thing about the composition, right? Like, you can get the Jax running, you can get the Olaf running, or even the Sivir, and you always have someone to revive.
You could never run away from that Jax either, because low mobility Draven with a Sivir, a Karma, a Zilean, just like, you were literally flying like an eagle. There was nothing to stop you from just rampaging onto the enemy team and just doing so much colossal damage.
Yeah.
Really exciting game. That was a lot of. We had a slow start, but the moment Giants got that lead, they just did not let it up.
I think we have some answers to what we were saying at the pre-game. Are Giants on the same level as H2K? Well, judging from that one, apparently above in terms of level against H2K.
I'm still confident.
The prediction is looking like the prophecy is going to ring true here, Vedius.
I know in the points right now, even if Giants get the 2-0, they'd still be behind H2K right now. But the fact that they've already taken a game off of G2, they've taken a game now off of H2K. And if we remember, back in the start of the LCS, we said, let's not forget that these guys have had the roughest start to the LCS because they've had the top 3 teams in Europe. They're now playing against the top 3 teams again, and they have been phenomenal.
I couldn't agree more, Vedius. But with Giants taking that first game over H2K, we're going to let Shox and the boys take a close look.